February 2023. The world was still living by the old financial logic, but we pressed start. We wanted to create an ecosystem that would unite artificial intelligence and finance to make asset management simple, scalable, and secure. That's how Aurum was born. The starting point was EXAI Bot, the first AI-powered trading solution, an algorithm that laid the foundation for an entire era. From that moment, we began expanding at the speed of light. We've built and are implementing a vision that includes trading AI bots, exchanges, neobank, crypto cards, and real-world asset tokenization, official registration in Hong Kong, and the first features in global media. The creation of Aurum Neobank, the launch of Zeus AI Bot, and the flash loan license surpassing $1 million in profits. The opening of our headquarters in Dubai, where hundreds of industry leaders gathered. The world started to talk about us. We were featured by Binance, Benzinga, Crypto Reporter, and Blockchain Wire. Forbes called us the new infrastructure of global finance, but this is no time to pause. We're gaining momentum. We launched Aurum Academy, strengthen our team, and appoint Brian Benson, a professional with 27 years of experience, as our CEO. Global events in Vietnam, Dubai, and Antalya, thousands of cards sold, and the launch of the AI agent ecosystem. Today, we stand on the stage of Token 2049 Singapore, alongside the leaders of Binance, Tether, KuCoin, and Tron. And this moment once again proves Aurum is a global ecosystem of worldwide scale. But the most important part, this is only the beginning. The next decade will be one of expansion. In 2025 to 2026, we bring Aurum Neobank to the mass market. Hundreds of thousands of users, millions of transactions. The launch of Aurum Exchange, which reaches $5 billion in trading volume within its first year. AI bots manage over $100 million in assets. The first 5,000 cash-in and withdrawal terminals appear. Aurum establishes its presence in 10 countries and secures its position in the global market. In 2027 to 2028, we raise the bar. Neobank reaches 2 million users and 1.5 million cards. During this period, Aurum DEX, a next-generation decentralized exchange, launches. Personalized AI-based services emerge. Credit scoring and capital management. The first RWA deals worth $500 million are integrated. The terminal network expands to 20,000 points across 20 countries. By 2029, Neobank evolves into a super app. Flight bookings, taxis, car rentals, food delivery, while transactions exceed $20 billion. Aurum DEX cements its position within the ecosystem with $5 billion in trading volume, becoming a key element of Aurum's DeFi direction. AI agents operate for hundreds of thousands of businesses, and RWA grows to $5 billion. Aurum becomes an ecosystem that accompanies users every day. In 2030 to 2033, Neobank's user base hits 12 million and over 10 million cards. Inside the super app, 15 to 20 integrated services and partnerships with 500 global brands. Summit gathers 5,000 leaders. By 2033 to 2035, Aurum Neobank enters the top 5 global neobanks with a valuation of $10 billion plus. Aurum Exchange remains in the top 10, while Aurum DEX surpasses $20 billion in trading volume. AI manages over $5 billion in assets, and RWA exceeds $20 billion. We are present in 75 countries with 1,000 global partners and over 100,000 terminals. The Aurum Global Summit brings together 10,000 industry leaders. Aurum becomes the symbol of a new financial era, a system that made finance accessible to everyone, a story that has already transformed the industry, and a future that already belongs to us.
A new beginning. We're going to do a quick presentation. I'm going to share a gentleman who is one of the top performers within the infrastructure. Please pay attention. Then Rodney's going to give you a review of his dashboard. Please pay attention.
Thank you so much for attending this short presentation. We're here to examine the Aurum Foundation. Just before I start, I don't work for this company. I'm not paid to present this information. I'm purely just, I suppose, a consultant taking a look at it. The opinions that I give, it's just my own opinions. It's my own due diligence. Of course, it would be very prudent to do your own due diligence and well recommended. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give you any advice in that respect. I would always maybe speak to an accountant or an expert from the industry you're looking at. I think that's always very good advice. So with that said, let's take a look at the company. First of all, the company seems to be very good. We're looking at Brian Benson here as the CEO. Interesting guy. He's from California. He went to university in Santa Barbara and went straight into the banking industry, where he worked as a trader for Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley is a very reputable bank. And after that, he moved into the other side of finance, into fintech, what we call Web3, what we call blockchain. He got involved with one of the biggest and fastest growing companies ever of all time, called Binance. And there he had a big role to play. We learned that he opened all of LATAM, all of South America. He opened the market in Mexico for Binance. He opened it down in Brazil, which was a big market, Chile, Peru, Colombia, everywhere in between. And of course, Brian opened these companies in his own name initially before Binance actually took them over. And would you believe that the business volume that this man generated represented 20% of Binance's entire global revenue? So he had a big role to play there. Now, I did a quick Google on him, and I'm sure you'll do the same, but please spell his name right, Bryan. And I just put the word Binance after the search. I went Brian Benson, Binance. I pressed images because I wanted just to check, was it the same guy? And of course, I was very pleased to see, yes, he's everywhere. A lot of history here. There's photographs here when he was much, much younger. We can see him with the Binance shirt on there. We can see him, it looks to be opening offices there down in the bottom left. You can see him with the Binance logo. Obviously, now a CEO of Aurum, you can see the Aurum logo as well. He's been interviewed by many companies, and he travels around the world speaking at major blockchain events. In fact, Forbes have written positively twice about this company. And here they're telling us that Aurum provides institutional grade trading. Institutional grade trading is a whole lot different than the standard, what I would call the Wild West of trading. Institutional grade has different regulations, different risk management programs, and the type of trading that would be conducted by the banks or maybe the big institutions like BlackRock, they would use institutional grade trading. Some of these programs can make a lot of money very fast. This is more governed, more sensible, more appealing, I think, with good risk management program. The next thing that appealed to me was the relationship between Aurum and the issuing bank of Visa. Very interesting here that it's quite hard to get your name co-branded with the likes of Visa. Obviously, the issuing bank has done its due diligence. We would assume they know exactly who the owners, the founders, the directors, the CEO. They know Brian Benson, I'm sure. They've probably asked for their last year's accounts and checked licensing, whatever else is appropriate. We were delighted to see that now Visa is already on board, and that's a very important piece of the whole ecosystem. And then we learned that Brian Benson is speaking right around the world. He spoke at the world's largest blockchain conference in 2025. That was down in Singapore in early October, same time as the Formula One. And Brian spoke on stage at this event alongside his buddy, Richard Teng. Now, Richard and Brian worked together in Binance, but Richard got the job as CEO. And I suppose those of you that are with Aurum are glad that Richard Teng got the job there, because that made Brian available to be the CEO here at Aurum. They were paying $1,000 to get into this, and over 25,000 people showed up. And what this tells me is that, wow, we've got a company here that's not afraid to be exposed, to put yourself in an arena with 25,000, what I would call crypto experts, blockchain experts. That would tell you that this company has good purpose, good meaning. It had a stand at the show. They were looking for partnerships, liquidity providers, and things like this to bring content, to bring product to this community. Then very recently, he was speaking in Abu Dhabi, another big event, and many events outside these events are also conducted. When there's a big global event, let's say on 1 or 2 days at a venue, subsidiary events occur around the outside of that. I believe the Solano big event happened there. He was down also at the Ethereum conference in Argentina. He was in Germany not so long ago at an event as well, speaking. He was interviewed again in early December on the Wendy O show. Now, Wendy O is one of these global media influencers, particularly social media. She interviews on podcasts a lot of these big CEOs, and Brian had a great interview with her in early December. And then also in December, he was seen speaking at another big event alongside incredible visionary leaders and co-founders. In fact, Anton Buketford was the co-founder of 1inch. He was speaking at the event. The co-founder and COO of Sandbox, Sebastian Borget, was speaking. And of course, Brian Benson from Aurum was speaking at this special event. And that's what he does. He travels around the world, endorsing the Aurum brand, looking for partnerships in here with the big boys. And we were very pleased to see all of that. Moving away from the company now for a moment, let's take a look at the products and the ecosystem. They've developed this point of sale terminal. The ATM machines are in development, but they are not ready. The point of sale terminal on the left of your screen is already in hand. It hasn't been mass produced yet, but they're working on software. And this is a very interesting piece of technology. Most shops have one of these devices, but this particular one is coded and programmed to accept not just fiat payments, that's your national currencies. It's also programmed to accept digital money or cryptocurrency. And that gives shopkeepers a benefit where they could advertise outside their shop, we accept crypto payments. And that's a nice way to draw in. A lot of these young kids are running around with these digital wallets and they have this cryptocurrency. So that would increase their sales by endorsing the fact that they can accept crypto payments in their stores. In addition to that, the settle of payments can be done much faster than the traditional banking rails. The normal, what we call banking rails of MasterCard and Visa, very often the shopkeeper won't get your money, maybe even up to 30 days later, depending on the product. So the cash flow is tight because obviously Visa and MasterCard are holding that money. But this device, payments could be settled as soon as 24, 48, or 72 hours, which helps the cash flow of any business. So crypto payments is number one, cash flow, and fast settlement is number two. And number three is the reduction in fees. So whereas maybe you might pay $5 for a coffee, but once you pay with your card, the shopkeeper does not get $5 because Visa and MasterCard will take their fees for the facility that they've offered. And if that was 5%, for instance, maybe on the Aurum point of sale terminal, the charges could be as little as 1 to 2%. So we can reduce fees, give them the ability to accept crypto payments and settle much faster than the traditional banking rails. This is a great product. Now, the next product they have, and this is already up and running, is their exchange. Very difficult to open an exchange. Could you list on the top of your head 10 exchanges? Have a think about that. Could you list off the top of your head 10 exchanges? Let me try. Binance, Coinbase, OKX, Kraken, KuCoin. I'm going to say BitGet. So very difficult to generate an exchange of this nature because it has to have what's called liquidity. It has to have the money sitting there. Let's say a client came up and tried to use this to swap 3 Bitcoins into US dollars. That immediate liquidity needs to be there. So to put this together, it's probably only somebody like Brian Benson that has the collateral, that has the connections, that has the contacts to put this together. And Brian was originally drafted in to pioneer this exchange. He has so much success with Binance, bringing 20% of Binance revenue to the Binance exchange. His role was to roll this out. It's already up and running. Customers are testing it and trying it. It's really cool. I would have no interest in this myself because I don't trade. I don't know how to, but I certainly might at some point like to swap, let's say, a little bit of USDT into Bitcoin, or maybe if I had some Bitcoin, I'd like to swap that over to Ethereum, something like that. So I would be interested in the swap feature, but none of the trading technicals. I wouldn't understand that part of it. The other product I like on the exchange is the liquidity staking product. Now, this is potentially one of the best products on the planet right now. And I'll tell you why. If you think about the wealthy individuals, the wealthy companies around the world, one of their major assets would be probably real estate. We talk about McDonald's. McDonald's is a real estate company, not a fast food company. They open properties in prime locations around the world. And it's really the hamburger business that pays for the real estate. They're one of the biggest real estate companies on the planet. But the wealth generated by property, or the wealthy people getting into real estate, those guys are getting about 5 to 10% yield a year, 5 to 10% yield. A yield would be a percentage of the cost of the property against the annual rent. Let's say you bought a property for 100,000 and you were getting $10,000 a year rent from the property. That would be a 10% yield. Okay, so the 100,000 property, you're getting 10,000 a year rent. So that's a 10% yield that property is bringing you. So traditionally around the world, real estate delivers 5 to 10% a year yield. Guys, look on the screen. Look what we're offering, 17 to 20% on your cryptos. And not only that, These are instantly liquidity provision here. So if you wanted your Bitcoin in for a day and take it out tomorrow, that's fine. If you want to put your USDT in for today and take it out today, that's also fine. So immediate liquidity is something that real estate cannot offer, because to sell property, you need to advertise it. You need to get the property viewed by clients. You need a real estate agent. You need a bank on board. You need customers. You need a lawyer. You need to do contracts, etc., etc. And it might even take 6 months to liquidate a property. With this type of product, you can liquidate it in 6 minutes, not 6 months. It's incredible. So a great product. It beats gold. It beats real estate. And guess who else it beats? You got it. It beats the bank, hands down. So a great product. And this is something that I might be very interested in. You can see here, this is an overview of the platform. If you go to crypto staking, you can see here 0.1 BTC was staked, but it's not 0.1 anymore. It's 0.10018. So you can see that there's fractions of Bitcoin being added to this account every single day. So it's daily rewards for staking, not wait a month to get paid. Every day, the staking benefits are added to your account, which is very good. Again, this was $1,000 deposit. It's not 1,000 anymore. You can see it's gone to $1,008.94. So every day, this product is just, without trading, is generating profits on a daily, ongoing basis. I'd like you now to listen to Mr. Brian Benson himself. This gentleman has created thousands of millionaires when he worked over at Binance. He has a great feeling for Aurum. He feels it's very like what he did back in Binance in those days. So let's have a listen now to Brian Benson.
We're on a mission to create 1,000 millionaires that don't have $1 million today. So if we can come up with a system whereby there's hundreds of thousands of people in there, but 1,000 of these people turn into millionaires, then those assets are inside of our platform. That turns us into a unicorn right away. And so that's really the goal that I have as an executive at the company, is how do we get people that don't have $1 million today to get them to $1 million through saving, through yield bearing assets, through a lot compounding interest, through a lot of these things that have been around for a long time, but that not everyone in the world uses. And these are tools that are super important to get us there. So that's how we're measuring it internally, is if we can get to the point where we have 1,000 people that have become millionaires through our system and through working with our products, then that gets us really close to the unicorn valuation. And we want to be a fintech unicorn. I think Binance was the fastest fintech unicorn ever in the history. Yeah. I think it took less than 6 months. We used to have a slide about that in our pitch deck. So I'm pretty sure I've done this before. I've been involved in one of the fastest growing fintech unicorns in the world. And I think what we have at Aurum is actually very similar to when I started at Binance.
So there you heard it from the man himself. Of course, this was part of a larger interview, but we were able to grab these few minutes just to let you see what kind of man this is, the visionary leadership he has. So whilst all those millionaires were created on Binance, at Binance, Brian was only managing director. Over here, he's the big boss. Over here, he's the CEO, and he'd like to be remembered for generating 1,000 millionaires. I already know that at least 2 people have already achieved $1 million incomes in the pre-launch. So he's probably looking for another 998 millionaires. And that tells you the vision, that tells you where he's going with this. And the video that he put together there, 10-year roadmap, was quite interesting to see. Now, let's tell you about the platform itself. To get onto the platform, it's a subscription. You're not selling securities. You're not selling investments. You're not allowed to do that. Probably don't have the license just to do that. What really on offer here is a $20 business, a $20 subscription, a bit like promoting a gym that you use. I use this gym, I pay $1,000 a year. They've got a running machine, a rowing machine, steam room, saunas. They've actually got a swimming pool down in the club. You could sell that kind of membership. This is a $20 membership. That's all you can do. You don't have any products to sell. Okay, you've no financial products to sell yourself. You can't sell the card, because I'm not selling this card, because it's the only one I have. It's my card, so I'm not selling it. So you can't sell cards. You can't sell financial products. You can't do any of that. All you're doing is pointing people to a website. And those customers, if they choose to onboard, they're dealing directly with Aurum, the company itself. With that said, that's why we say do your own due diligence, come up with your own ideas there to get on board with the platform. Now, once that $20 is paid, and by the way, nobody gets any commission for recruitment. Okay, that's a stipulation. Brian Benson said in some regions of the world, not everywhere, but in some regions, it's not very popular if somebody is incentivized to recruit somebody into a program if they're going to make money out of it. So When anybody joins this program, nobody gets paid. They pay that $20. That all goes to the company. That deals with customer support. That gives efficient web management, product development. If he puts on 1 million customers, he's got $20 million annually just to run the show. So with that said, nobody gets paid for recruiting. And I think that's very important. It's a different job if somebody ordered a product or used a product, then you would be entitled to commission of some kind, but certainly not for recruiting. They will not pay out anything when somebody registers, and I like that a lot. Now, let's talk about some of their other products. We've looked at ATM machines and point of sale terminals. We've looked at liquidity staking products and exchanges. But what about this one? This is the EXI bot. This bot's been running for over 2.5 years. It started back in 2023. It was reserved only for the high net worth individuals, for VCs, venture capitalists. Let's call those guys accredited investors. It was not open to the retail market. That part only started in September 24, I believe. But this bot has been in operating. It's done over 500% in over 2 years. At this point, there's about $60 million trading in this particular bot. By the way, there's 7 of these. This is just one, but this appears to be the best one. This appears to be the most efficient, probably because it's running the longest. Now, to get started here, you need to think about this as a banking app. Now, the native app is available right now, I believe, on Google and Apple Play stores. So you would download the app, probably in beta test at this point in time, but very soon that'll become live for everybody. So you just go and download the banking app, and in there you do your business. But consider this, that's how I consider it, as a neobank. Neobank. Neo means new. So it's a new style of banking because we've learned that the traditional banks are pushing us away. The traditional banks are closing down the premises. They don't want to interact face to face. They're trying to get everybody online. So this is the new style of neobank. And as I said, consider that there's no packages. There's no $100, $500, $700 package. It's a deposit to your own account. So you get your own USDT wallet, your own Bitcoin wallet. You get your own accounts inside this banking app, and you deposit to your own account. That's what you're doing. You're not giving it to anybody else. You're putting it into your own account. Now, let's say you tried $110 to test this out, or $172 or $206. Doesn't matter. If it's inside this range here, those customers will benefit to the tune of about 10% a month. When I say about 10%, this is not fixed. It can't be. It's to do with the markets. It's to do with trading. But over the lifespan of this particular account, it appears that about 10% a month would be average rewards for that. Now, of course, past performance is not indicative of future results, but that said, we have customers enjoying in around 10% a month with those kind of deposits. For those customers that could do more, let's say you're able to do, say, a $400 or $700 or $906, doesn't matter. Inside this range, you get approximately 11%. For those of you who can do over 1,000 and less than 2.5, you guys are going to get about 12%. And of course, you can see the larger the deposit, the better the reward. What's important to note here is, like, how does the company make money? If you're making all this money, where does the company get its money? The answer is actually on the screen. The average performance of the whole fund is doing about 17.5%. And therefore, if customers in this range are enjoying 10%, the company get the difference. They get the spread. They're making 7% on those accounts, which is very good. For those customers that are getting 11%, you can see the company's making 6. For those of you that get 12%, the company makes 5. For those that get 13, the company's making 4. And on every occasion, the company's always making a little bit of money. And I think that's very important, that it's not just a one-sided thing. It has to be a win-win scenario. In terms of profits, you can withdraw your profits anytime, any day. In fact, every day, if you wish. The withdrawal fees are 1% plus $1 if you're using the USDT BEP20 network, and they're 1% plus $3.50 if you're using the TRC20 USDT network. So that's the withdrawal fees. I've heard of platforms that are charging 8%, 10%, even 12%, somebody told me recently, for withdrawals. This is very fair, very honorable, just at 1%. I think it's fantastic. In terms of your principal, although this is designed for a 12-month plan, you can take your principal as well. They permit you to take your principal on the first day, the 10th day, and the 20th day of every month if there was an emergency. And that would be subject, of course, to an early retirement penalty, let's call it, of about 35%. But in this industry, that's quite common. It's quite common. If you take your pension, let's say you put away money for 40 years for your pension and you were able to take it out early, you're obviously not going to get the same had you left it for the entire period. Also, in the insurance industry, I know that the insurance agents, if you took out a policy with an insurance agent, and let's say for some reason you cancel it 6 weeks in, the insurance company would take a claw back from the agent that sold that to you. You're sure that's how it works. But here, they're not going to do that. They're going to put the onus on the client, on the customer. So I think that's a great way of handling things. I'll show you an example here of a client account. This customer started on the 17th of April, if you look at the bottom left. The deposit was $500 back then. And if you'll please cast your eyes to the bottom right-hand side corner, you'll notice that this was at 9:36 on the 17th of September 25. So we're looking at a trading period of 5 months. 17th of April, 17th of September is exactly 5 months. And the account here is achieved in profits about $382. Okay, so it was funded with 500 and it's sitting at 882. So now the next question is, how does this fare out? How do you feel about that? Does that sound reasonable? Does it sound not enough? Does it sound too much? What actually does it represent? I remember from school clearly that you used to put the profit, which was the 382. You used to set that over top the principal, the deposit. You divide the bottom number into the top. I don't know if your teacher taught you that. I know some of you young kids, you were able to use calculators. When we were at school, we had no calculators. We had to work it out ourselves. But you divide the bottom number into the top number, and that works out the percentage. And of course, $382 over a $500 deposit is sensational, 76%. You wouldn't get that in real estate. We talked about it earlier. You probably get about 10% a year. This is 76% in 5 months. If you bought a bar of gold, whether it was a little gram or 10-gram bar or a kilo, it doesn't matter. You'd be very lucky to get 10% in a year. This is 76% in 5 months. So it beats most traditional vehicles. And of course, it beats the bank hands down. So there's an idea there, guys. Again, it's not financial advice, but that's a very small account with $500. And they do permit customers to come in with even $100 if you wish. You don't have to start at 500. So I think that's very fair. And I think it's a great performance for a very small deposit. We were able to get our hands on a larger account. Now, this is an interesting one. This one was started on the 10th of April. Can you see here, 10th of April, 2025. And if we look at the account number, it's hash B3441972. Just let's remember 1972. That's the account number, the last 4 digits. This account was funded on the 10th of April with $10,000. And if you look at the bottom right-hand side of your screen at 10:23 in the evening, on the 16th of May. Now, the 10th of April to the 10th of May is 1 month. And then from the 10th of May to the 16th of May is 6 more days. It's a month and 6 days. Let's call it 5 weeks. So if we summarize here, we can see that this account was trading for 5 weeks. The account ending with 1972 is not 10,000. It's now 12,360. The profit portion was $2,360 in just 5 short weeks. We were able to get another screenshot from this account 5 weeks later on the 24th of June 25. And you can see here the same account ending in 1972, funded on the 10th of April, had made another $3,000 in the next 5 weeks. So it made $2,300 in the first 5 weeks, and then it made $3,000 in the next 5 weeks. Total profit, $5,500. And then after 3 months, the same account ending in 1972 had jumped, it made another $2,000. It went from 15.5, we could call that 17.5. And then after 4 months, this account doubled. The $10,000 was now $20,000. Imagine you brought a property for $100,000 in your country on the 10th of April, and you sold it on the 10th of August, 4 months later, for $200,000. Is that good business? It's all relative. It's in the numbers. Now, again, that was back in August the 10th. Let's take an up-to-date look. And here we're looking on the bottom right-hand screen at the 10th of December. This represents 8 full trading months from the 10th of April to the 10th of December is exactly 8 months. That same account that started with 10,000, we saw it going to 12 and 15 and 17. We saw it going to 20,000. And 3 months later, it's at $39,000. 10,000 becoming $39,000. In fact, if you look at the account above it, ending in 08F, would you believe that was the $500 account that went to 882? Do you remember the one just a few slides ago? We talked about it doing 76%. Look at it now. The 500 is now $1,200 in a very short period of time. That won't even be 8 months now until the 17th of December. And of course, you can see you can have multiple accounts inside the one. This customer is getting a lot of confidence now. You can see there's a deposit went in there in September and October. They're now starting to top up this account. You can see what's happening there. I'd also like to alert you to these reinvestment buttons. So the little white button inside the green slider, when you open your account, this button is not engaged. It's not turned on. And you probably, if you're here for the first time, would not be able to find that button. You'll not know where to locate it on the platform. But if you do, and at your prerogative, if you turn it right side to the on side, what it means is your profit that you earn today will remain inside Binance or OKX or Crack, wherever they're trading, because they use a lot of the liquidity from these big exchanges. They're trading on multiple large exchanges, the likes of KuCoin, the likes of OKX and Binance. But your profit will stay in the account with the principal, the original principal, to trade itself. It'll be profit and principal working together. This is known as the compounding effect. Now, for those of you that require cash flow, let's say you require money coming into the house every day or every week, then it would not be prudent to turn that on, just leave it off. And when it's in the off position, it means the profit goes straight to your wallet for withdrawing purposes. So you have a choice because you're in control of your money. So I think that's very fair as well. And you'll notice that the withdraw button is lit up in blue here. Why? Because we're looking at the 10th of December. The 10th of December is one of those withdrawal dates. You can take out your principal, remember, on the first day, on the 10th day, and on the 20th day of every month. So there you go. The profit you take out every day, the principal can only come out on those 3 days. So there we go. That's a look at the EXI bot. It's a big favorite of lots of customers. They do have 6 more of these, but they all work a little bit different. They've all got different features. These other bots, you'll find them on Telegram. Once the native app is up and running, you'll find them on the banking app itself. But that's for those that might have a little bit of Bitcoin or a little bit of BNB or Ethereum. If you have those coins sitting on an exchange, sitting in a wallet, doing nothing, then there's an opportunity over at the Zeus bot to allow those coins to grow as well. And the next product we'll finish with on this occasion will be the card. Very excited about this particular product. I don't know why anybody might get excited about a piece of plastic, but I can tell you this is no ordinary piece of plastic. There are going to be 4 versions available. 2 of them will require no KYC. KYC means know your client. So you will not be required to give your passport, your driving license, or any bank statement or utility bill to verify. You can get these without verification, which is really good. They allow you to put up to $100,000 a month of cryptocurrency onto it. And wherever you go to spend it, whether it's in any shop or even the ATM machines, it's cryptocurrency onto the card, and you can spend currency in your national countries. That means every shopkeeper will be accepting these crypto payments through Visa and MasterCard. The top-up fee is 2.2%. How does that compare? Well, if you didn't want to put your money on the card, you can withdraw it to any wallet of your choice at 1%. But if you want to put it on the card, it's going to cost you 2.2%. Guys, that's not bad for convenience. The convenience of not having to go to an exchange, the convenience of no KYC, the convenience of not, how do you cash out this crypto? That's the 2 problems. How do I get crypto is the first problem. And then for those that haven't, how do I use it? How do I spend it? We've certainly got the second part already in place. This is how you can spend your crypto all around the world. The onboarding of turning your fiat into crypto, that will be another phase where we will do that on the exchange. Eventually, there'll be a button on there where you can wire or Swift pay or bank pay into the exchange, convert your euro, your pounds, your dollars into USDT, and then from there onboard it to wherever you desire. The card will start creating some merchant benefits when we get cash back up to 10%. We'll be looking at some shops will offer 1%, 2%, or 3%, depending on their profit margin. Some bigger stores might have bigger margins. They might be even able to offer up to 10% cash back when you use this card. That's not available presently, but that's what they're working on. Now, as I said, there'll be 4 cards, starting at $33 with no monthly fees for the small card, $66, no monthly fees, $99, no monthly fees, and $249, no monthly fees. Why are they different prices? They've all got different features. They've all got different commission rates. They've all got different limits. So this one you can only put $15,000 onto, 30,000, 50,000, 150. Sorry, 15,000, 30,000, 50,000, 100,000. They've all got different commission rates. So we'll cover this probably on a training rather than explain it today. We just want to give you an overview of the company. We want to give you an overview of our CEO. We want to give you an overview of the ecosystem and the products that are available. That might help you some way do your due diligence and might help you some way come to a decision. What I would like to do on this occasion is just show you the card operating. This gentleman here is a friend of ours from the United Kingdom. He had his trading bot working. He stopped it from trading altogether. He sent some profits up onto this card. You just press top up and put it onto the card. And then he was sent down to the shop to grab some milk. Let's see how John got on here.
Here we go then, second official transaction.
No, purple and white. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you, Mina.
And there we go. Imagine spending cryptocurrency in a predominantly fiat world. And of course, if you have the physical card, we've also seen it working at the ATM machines where you can withdraw your crypto into your national currency. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that is our presentation over. I want to thank all of you for attending tonight. Please do get back to the person that shared this link with you. They've thought enough of you to offer you the opportunity to examine this. I hope you found value tonight. I hope you found something interesting there. And of course, whatever your decision, I hope it's the right decision for you and your family. Thank you again. And please do get back to the person that shared this information with you.